morning, my comic book junkies. How are you all doing this morning? So this video I'm doing by request. There's been quite a few people who have been requesting this video. So what they've been wanting to know is, how do I press my comics? And I've done a couple videos over the years, but it's been quite a while since I've done one. So let's go over here, and excuse my mess. People always say that when you come to their house. But anyways, here's my press setup. So this one here on the right is my hot press, and this one on my left is my cold press. I picked up these off Craigslist from a printing company for $50 each. Now, I've never turned this one on. They said that one of the quadrants was blown out and it doesn't heat up, so we'll take their word for it, because I figured let's press it a couple minutes or less than a minute here, and then I put it in this press when it's done for no less than 8 hours. And they've been coming out really good ever since I've been learning to press. I've been pressing for going on 2 years now, and just stumbling my way along using reader grade copies of books that don't have any meaning to me to practice on. So today I'm going to show you the step-by-step process that I go through. And I picked out a really hard book to work on. So it's I don't know how many pages, but it's a giant from 1980 dollar. But you can see here, hopefully you can see here, see all those creases in it? So it's pretty terrible. Not only that, it's got a huge spine roll. So the spine roll looks even worse when you flip the book over. Look at that. And we're going to fix all that. We're going to make this book shine. We're going to make it flat. We're going to make it creaseless. And we're going to take out the spine roll. Now this book I bought it for $1. But I love these books. I guess because this is kind of the era where I started collecting and buying off the newsstand. So it just kind of shoots me back to my childhood. So let me grab the stand so I don't have to hold this camera while I'm doing procedure. So bear with me. Okay, so before we put the camera on the newsstand, let's get some of the boring stuff out of the way, which we'll talk about the tools that we'll need. And I just want to let you know how much of a nerd I am. I literally just woke up 5 minutes ago. And my first thought when I woke up, say a prayer, and then check on my book I put in the press last night. Let me see how it looks. So I took out a book today, and you can go check it out on Instagram. But I pressed this one out. Oh, it looks beautiful. It looks like it just came off the newsstand. Absolutely gorgeous. So here we go. So this, like I already told you what the presses were. You'll need one of these. This is a steamer. This is a portable one. I picked it up at Walmart for, I think, $14.99. That's the cheapest one I could find in town at any store. And I've checked several. Target and Bed Bath & Beyond were the other two I checked, and they wanted $19.99 for the same exact steamer. So that's what this is. You see it has water in here, and preferably use distilled water so it doesn't have the minerals. I was doing that, but then you forget to go to the store, and I just started using tap water, which is fine as long as you keep it cleaned out, because it gets mineral buildup on it. And what do we got here? So we got parchment paper. There are several different kinds. There are full rolls. I prefer the sheets. You just pull them out, and then it's a sheet like that. These are flat. They don't have any wrinkles. There are white parchment paper that has wrinkles in them. You don't want that, because those wrinkles will transfer onto the cover of the book. So that's what these are. Where did I find this? I found this at the Dollar Tree. Only place in town I could find this specific one, because I ran out and I didn't know where I got the last ones, and I got like 5 different parchment papers. None of them were the right one until I found this one at Dollar Tree. You'll also need backing board. Now my press here, this bottom is spongy, so you got to have something underneath, otherwise these little sponge patterns will transfer onto the cover. So I just got a piece of poster board and cut out a piece. Very cheap, Dollar Tree again. Then you'll need several backing boards that are bigger than your comic. You'll need one for me because, again, the sponginess here will transfer, and then here I got a plate and it's got some defects on it that will transfer to the book. So I use this to sandwich the book in between and put this goes in the, you'll see in the procedure, this one goes in the middle near the centerfold to keep the little bump here and doesn't flatten the staples and pop them. Okay, now we can put you in the stand. Hopefully that made sense. If you got questions, put them in the comments. I'll definitely answer them all. All right, so here we go. So the first thing we want to do, we want to find our centerfold. And everyone has their own different methods. I am lazy. I didn't build a moisture chamber, which I wanted to. And if you want to know what that is, go watch DS Comics. He's really good at restoring. He built a moisture chamber, and he has a different procedure on how he moisturizes the books, which is pretty cool. So you want to get I got my centerfold here. So you turn on your steamer, and this one is getting old, so it actually is not working properly. It will stop steaming, and then I got to turn it off and turn it back on. So you hear it steaming now. Okay, so once it starts steaming, and as far as I know, you can't damage the book with too much steam, no matter how close you get the steamer. So right now we're just working on the centerfold. That's the first thing we're going to work on. So just steam the crap out of that centerfold. And this you do to get it more pliable, because you can pop the centerfold if it's too dry. And I've done it many times, so I've really learned how to do it. So this big of a spine roll, this book isn't too old, so you don't have to be quite as careful as like it was a Golden Age book. So there you go, the steamer stopped working. We're going to pause so that you're not bored, and we'll play some elevator music or something. Alright, like I said, I steamed the crap out of this book, and I'll get really close. You're not going to hurt this book. Unless it's direct water, it will not hurt it. The more you steam this, it will dry up in the press immediately. So I turned on my press, and I turned it off. It's an old press. And I'll show you where, I don't even know what temperature I got it at. So I'm just getting that really steamed up, so it's really pliable. I can work with it. And let me take you up here so then you can see here is the temperature gauge. So I usually let it get up about there. I shut it off, let it start cooling. And you don't need to put this book in very long. Okay, let's see if we can get this camera at a right angle here. Okay, so I lay it flat like this. Can you see that? Raise your hands at home if you can see that. Now I fold this over, and I push it up and get the spine roll out of it till it's even. And I'm going to show you that. See, can you see how that book is sitting now? See how I got it even? Now I'm going to work on this and push it down slowly by hand. Right there. Once I do that, then I'll fold it up in my parchment paper and hold that position, and then put it in the press and press it and keep it in that position. So kind of like massaging this book. So I want to keep my right angles there, or my plumb, keep it plumb. Now I start pushing on this. And I can tell if I have it in the right position on the right side because the staples will be centered in the book. So you can see I'm pushing on this. So now once I got this where I want it on this side, I can let it go on this side. I want to keep this position. I don't want to give it up. Fold this over. You got a dog ear here, so make sure that's folded down. Now fold your parchment paper over, keeping your position. Just like that. You know, when I was first learning, I did this a lot different. I did it in a much longer procedure. I would press it flat first and then get the fold out. And that I realized you don't have to do that, and it takes much longer. Okay, so I'm going to hold this book again at the end so it doesn't lose position. Now I'm going to press it. And this press I shouldn't leave it in there probably no more than a minute at the most, especially as hot as it is. One of the things I've learned, if you leave it in too long, you're going to lose your gloss. You're going to heat your gloss right off the book, so you got to be careful about that. So dun 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 dun. Oh, and this book is signed on the back by O.J. Simpson, so it's worth a whole lot of money. Okay, dun 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 dun. Hey, kitty. So I'm gonna give this another 10, 15 seconds. Can you hang with me that long? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But those aren't real seconds, so we got to go 10 again. And there goes Kitty. Hey, Kitty. And I think we're gonna check it now. So once you pull it out, hold the book in position. Don't give it up. Just because you pressed it does not mean that it's gonna stay. You want to make sure that it does. So here we go. And you can repress this book as many times as you want. So now I'm going to let go of it. We're going to see what happened. Did we get the spine roll out of it? Heck yeah, we got it out. Check it out. We got it out. Now, we're going to turn it over because look, the staple is not on the sides. So we still got a spine roll there. It's smaller, but it's still there. So we're going to repress it. I'm going to just pause this. Okay, so I'm repressing that spine roll again. The reason I've clicked back on it, I want to show you, I didn't mention that. This is how I do it. I hang the book off out of the press like that and put the spine right on the end of the press. And so we're going to check it. Let's pause this. All right, so I pressed that spine roll a second time. You can see now that it's almost even. That will even up more now when we do a full press. But also one of the tricks that I've learned is using the parchment paper. You fold it over the spine like this. If you ever have tears or breaks in the spine, this will conform it. So when you hot press it and then leave it in the press for 8 hours, if you have tears that are like flapping over, well, you press it with this thing tight and wrapped around it, and they will actually conform to the spine and make your book look nicer if it's in really low grade. Okay, so now a full press. What is a full press? We're going to press the creases out of the whole book. So now we find our centerfold. And the centerfold is in the middle where you can see the staples. There we go. So now we take our backing board and we put it in there. And the reason for this is if you do not, you'll press this area straight out and you'll pop these staples. And this keeps like the little rounded area on the spine. I popped a lot of staples before I actually learned how before I learned about doing that. So now we do the full press. So now we're going to steam the whole book. And remember, you can redo. These processes as many times as you want. You're not going to damage the book. And since this is low grade, I mean, if I make a mistake, I'll learn. That's my learning tool. And be careful. You should know this. The steam is super hot. You can burn yourself. I actually burned myself last night, but I quickly moved my hands so I didn't leave any scars. So you just really want to saturate this thing with moisture. Now I've heard people say that they don't use heat. I've tried to press without heat and the wrinkles do not disappear. So I don't know how they're doing it. But I don't. I saturate this thing with moisture. And it makes like I said, it makes the book pliable and workable and presses everything out of it. And we'll see when we're done how it looks. And I took before pictures and I'll take after pictures. And they'll be on Instagram also. Like I say, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'll share anything. A lot in the beginning, I think about 3 years ago, when collectors were just starting to really do this openly, people were hiding their secrets. They were hiding their temperatures, their procedures, and they weren't sharing them. As soon as I got a press, the first thing I wanted to do was to share everything I learned with everybody. I don't see the benefit of not sharing and keeping it all secret. I'm sorry, this steamer is like, I'm cheap. I don't want to spend the money to buy another one. So this will be the last time I steam this. Come on, baby. Come on. But, there's nothing like the satisfaction of getting a low-grade book and learning how to fix it up yourself and make it look beautiful. You feel like you've learned something, especially if you learn it on your own. You have that sense of accomplishment. Okay, here we go. So what we do now, we put it in here. Make sure all your dog-eared pages are folded out, fixed, whatever. Your cover creases. Put it in here. The heat's low enough now where I don't have to worry about it. I've made mistakes where I've had high heat, left it in too long, and it really takes the gloss off the book. Not that this book has a lot of gloss, but you definitely want that gloss. That helps when you take your after pictures. So people are like, wow, that book looks brand new. So, yeah, I can talk a lot. Anyways, we leave that in there for a few minutes. Not even a few minutes, a minute. I'm going to pause it. All right, I had left it in for maybe a minute. Okay, now another thing, when you lift this up, open it slow. This book will stick to the plate, and then it will flop all over if you open it really fast. Okay, so now what I'm going to do now is transfer it over to the cold press and leave it in there for 8 hours. So if you see on top, you have this plate here. You want to get your book centered under that because that's where all the pressure is going to be evenly distributed. So I have a Golden Age backing board on the bottom. I get this book out and put it here. Now before I started, I checked the book. I put the book in the press and I took this and I adjusted it to where I can get it super tight, but if you get it too tight, it's not going to close because this is, like I say, it's an extra thick book. So I wanted to make sure that I didn't fumble with that while I was making this video. Okay, so then you put your other backing board on and you line it up on top. And other people have bought metal plates, aluminum plates that you can buy off, I think, Amazon, instead of using these backing boards. Like I said, I'm El Cheapo, so I find the cheapest way to do stuff to get the same results. Okay, so that's lined up. Let me push this a little bit more that way. And there you go. And then we'll leave that in there for 8 hours. We'll come back and we'll see what it looks like afterwards. Okay, it's been 7.5 hours. Drum roll. Here we go. Let's see what this book looks like. And I didn't mention, but I did take some before pictures, and those will be up at the front of the video. And then we'll put some after videos. So let's see how well our book turned out. I'm going to go ahead and switch it to an overhead view. All right, I set up my little mini showcase table. We're going to bring this book over here. Now remember, this is a low-grade book, so we're not going to expect like gigantic miracles out of this thing. All right, we took her out of the press, and let's see what we got here. So put the light a bit closer. We'll just see. I mean, this is a low grade, but you can see how we got it nice and shiny. If we get the right angles on there. I mean, I still probably could press this. I didn't leave it in overnight, which I usually do, but you can see it's pretty flat. Could probably work on that area just a little bit more. But other than that, I mean, it looks really good. And that's the good thing about with a press. I mean, you can do it over and over until you get it better. Let's flip it over. I don't know if you remember that spine roll that was in there. It was pretty hefty. And I'll look at it. I'll put up the pictures of before and after. I left it in for 7 hours. I usually leave it in longer, like overnight, but I wanted to get this video out. But for a low-grade book that we practice on, I think it looks really good. And just for fun, I'm going to see how well I can get that pen, that ink off the cover. Probably not 100%, maybe just a little bit. But it's always fun to work on these. And so that is this book, Detective Comics 490.